kind of sucks, yeah.
Yeah, well, because I don't know what I'm doing, but I am randomly eliminating things. So for example, I emailed this thing,
Yeah.
so this,
And now it's gone.
and then I hit plus to start a new one.
Yeah.
And the old one's gone.
Wow, I never used notes on my like Mac.
Yeah.
Oh, just general tip for everybody. If you're going to log into your email on a school machine, it's often useful to do it in like an incognito window in Chrome, so that then when you close the browser, it forgets your credentials.
Command
and
Shift
you are
N.
just leaving yourself logged in on various machines.
All right.
Yeah.
City
I mean,
7.
don't bother with it now, but just be aware that
Top right.
that's something you can do.
Yeah, it just makes it easy.
We have this.
Cool. There's a full screen in the bottom left. I believe you click here.
Oh yeah.
Sweet, thank you.
Okay, cool.
All right.
You guys ready?
Yell, are you ready with time?
Yeah, I'll do that.
I got it, brother.
Yeah, Yale's got it.
Are we
Okay,
recording
this-
all the way through?
Oh yeah, it's on.
Yeah.
Our game is City 7. My name is Paul Yao.
I'm Jeff Yao.
I'm Austin Spiegel.
I'm Udit Tiwari, and we are City 7.
A utopian city. Humanity's dream. City 7. But it was just a dream. Humanity's predisposition to greed led to the division and finally to sin, social identity numbers. Those with greater sins lead society, while the others are relegated to the slums. To protect the sin systems, a security AI known as Sakai is created. Sakai controls all security forces in City 7. It is responsible for maintaining peace and order in the city, as well as defending key facilities that make up and enable the sin system. Where there is light, there is shadow. Czar is the leader of the Runners, a group of experts that seek to break free from sin. Though their numbers are few, these talented individuals will follow Czar's orders and use any means possible to destroy the sin system's infrastructure. The game starts when a sabotaged gas refinery explodes. As Sakai sends security to investigate the scene, Czar must take advantage of this distraction to coordinate the Runners to sabotage sin and achieve their ultimate goal, freedom.
City 17 or 7 is the game where real strategy game meets heist movie, such as Ocean 11. Much like the movie, the two factions has access to very different personnel, equipment, and abilities. Asymmetrical gameplay is the focus of this game. One player plays the role of Sakai and controls the security. The other player plays the role of Czar and controls the runners. Much like heist movies, the gameplay will focus on high-level macro management. It is about sending the right guy to the right place at the right time.
City 7 will be presented to the players in a highly abstract sci-fi art style. Nondescript buildings and faceless citizens fill the city, contributing to a dystopian feel. The city itself will be procedurally generated and different every game, much like what's portrayed here.
So our main features are the asymmetrical gameplay, which is the differences between the two factions, one focusing more on defense and the other one focusing more on sneaking and attacking. Our evolving gameplay, which is the idea that when the resistance movement, when they do certain actions such as blowing up buildings or destroying servers, they cause panic among the citizenry, which enables the defense AI to use more and more drastic measures. For example, in the beginning, the emergent AI is the citizenry of the city. They respond differently to different levels of panic, and the procedural generation of the city is also pretty important.
We'll be going about each in detail.
Okay, so the security has a variety of human resources and defenses that can allow them to protect the city in a better fashion. And the runners only have a handful of experts, but they can take out. They can easily best whatever the security can send at them.
There's a number of key objectives in the city, so that the security has to protect them, where the runners are trying to sabotage them. The security is trying to eliminate all of the runners, and the runners only have a couple, so they're trying to survive. And then the concept of order and chaos is that the runners can create panic in the citizenry, whereas the security has to keep order.
Okay. The players can only see what's in their line of sight. The security can see things through security cameras, and they have a lot of vision around the area. But the runners know the objectives and position of the security camera within their limited vision. So there's a distinct difference between what they can both see. The security has a scaling power that increases depending on the increase in the chaos. And runners can hide from security and won't be detected unless they break cover before performing a high sort of job. Okay. As the runners work towards destroying facilities relating to the SIN system, the security players have the option of raising an emergency response level. Much like DEF CON, increased emergency response level allows security to bring bigger toys out like guns, like UAV, attack copters, and SWAT teams. If either side causes collateral damage, the citizens will respond with panic, fear, and even rage. This can both be beneficial or harmful to the player. An angry mob could attack indiscriminately, a panic crowd could help the runners, and so on and so forth.
So civilian AI is driven by our motivation systems. There's thousands of AI running on the server, and they respond to the environment. The agent AI is our advanced NPC system, so there's a good number of agents depending on how many units you're controlling, and they respond to the environment and to player control. Procedural generation, we have the system-generated buildings and the type of buildings. The key facilities are going to be distributed throughout the map. Security defenses are also going to be placed. It'll be a rudimentary defense. The civilians and goals will also be there, as well as objectives and events, which are the objectives are only known to the runners. The results of our system are unpredictability, uniqueness, and replayability.
As you can see, these are the technological aspects we will be using in this game. We're going to go with PC system with keyboard and mouse input output. We're going to use Unity. We are going to have a multiplayer one-on-one client server module. So that's.
So this is City 7. I'm pulling out.
Are there any questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So no. Again, like yeah, you want to introduce yourselves again at the end and say,
So we do it again.
This,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you say this is our team, and that's City 7, and then you get a clap, and then you ask for because if you ask for questions, then it's rude for people to clap when you just ask them for something else. So what you say is, hey, so thank you very much. I'm Poen, Jeffrey, Austin, Aditya, and then say, and this was City 7, and then you get a clap, and then you say, are there any questions? All right. Okay. How long was that? It was pretty long.
We were plus 1 minute.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It felt longer than this.
6 to
Okay,
8.
cool. Thanks, Neil. This is something for everybody on your slide with names. Just go ahead and separate your names into one line each, and stand in the order that your names are on the slide. It helps out. Yep, you guys got it. Awesome. Yep, cool. Try not to memorize things. Like your opening was really strong until you stumbled.
I know. I was, because you said to Chloe earlier that she was reading too much off the script, and we just haven't memorized anything yet.
Well,
So I tried quickly to memorize it.
But my actual key point is don't memorize anything.
Oh, don't memorize it
Like,
at all?
like try and say it slightly differently each time.
Okay.
Like, when you tell a story about,
Yeah.
oh my God, guess what happened Friday night?
Yeah.
You don't say it the same
Yeah, you
way
don't say
every
it the same
time,
way,
and
yeah.
so it happens naturally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What sort of platform would you guys intend to make this on?
You said
PC,
PC Unity, yeah.
Okay. I'm concerned about the scope of this game because you are a small team. Doesn't this game seem to?
Oh, we haven't really spoken about it. I mean, we didn't add anything about organizational chart, but we could easily remedy that.
So
Even
that's our
stuff.
question, I guess. Do we add and talk about company? Do we talk about
Yeah.
previous game?
Yep.
You shouldn't have the asked. Okay.
Yep. So, as I said, like the structure should generally be, hi, this is our company name, these are our names, and just a brief, like, I'm sort of lead designer on this project, that kind of thing. Then a very brief description, as we just talked about, of your previous game that gives us some, so first of all, your previous game has to be plausible. You can't be like, we made that game that you remember that like knocked Angry Birds out of the #1 slot. Remember that game? That's not gonna work, right? Some plausible prior game that has aspects to it that help us understand why you're set up well to make this current game.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of, and then at the end you would have, so this is how much money that we're seeking, we're going to be developing for this much time, and this is our org chart of who we need to hire, kind of thing.
So we talk about the production plan, budget plan, or monetization?
You don't have to talk, you definitely need to talk about how you're going to make money, right? Whether it's microtransactions or you pay or whatever, whatever it is, you need to talk about how you make money. If you're interested in looking into MTX, the
What?
microtransactions, MTX, sorry. Which, there you go, I actually did that on purpose, thank you. Don't use acronyms, is the answer. You can have an acronym in your slide, but say the full thing when you're saying it, yeah. Like someone had, in the last class, ARPU, which is average revenue per user, and there's also ARPPU, which is average revenue per paying user, which are two different things. But you should say average revenue per user, not say ARPU, right? Yeah.
So we kind of haven't get our roles quite figured out yet, so that's why it's also
Yep,
chaotic.
yep. But also that will lead to who takes what slides.
Right.
And in fact, your roles, they're made up anyway, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, right? So you could just be like, man, this person's really good at the technical slides. Let's make that person the lead programmer. It doesn't matter, Yeah, it just, you should have, it's a role-playing game.
Right.
You're doing a role-playing game, right? Those with greater sins leave the city. I had no idea what that meant.
Oh, well, I actually explained it in the line before, but I could have stumbled over it. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
It was like social identity number.
Oh, okay. I was like, those who murder leave the city, Adulterers, they get to handle
Yeah.
middle management, while gluttons, they clean the
I can maybe I'll find a way to emphasize that so then people
Maybe on the slides.
maybe put it on the slides even
Yeah.
so people know
Just
that.
have the word pop out. Sick.
I was
You
thinking
could
about
also pronounce it sign instead,
Sign,
which is a
okay.
valid pronunciation of S-I-N.
Okay,
So, yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the beginning, maybe cutting together some because we just grabbed concept art from DeviantArt, but I was gonna
Cool art,
gonna cut it together in maybe After Effects and have a 10-second maybe trailer a talk over or something. So
Yep.
then kind of give it more.
Yeah, I mean, 10-second visual trailer that you talk over
Yeah.
works fantastic.
Yeah, and that would be
You've
a
only
good
seen that a
entry.
couple of times, but it works really nicely. That you should memorize because, you're
Yeah, I was gonna memorize and talk over that, and then it would be
the art's fantastic. You should shift your concept when you start talking about Czar because you're shifting topics
Yeah.
of that. Runners is a term from Mirror's Edge. You might want to
I know, that's what we need.
Yeah.
That's what we
Yep. Procedural city creation. I kept coming back to that because there's a lot of things here that are these big, complex technical problems, and you kind of get one valid, complex technical problem that you can claim to have solved in this.
Yeah.
So you've got the procedural city where I'm like, okay, but as unpredictability can mean unpolished gameplay, because with a procedural city you can't always be guaranteed that it's going to be a fun map.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at League of Legends, man, that's one map, right? And it's the most played game in the world.
Yeah.
And I think they might have another a second map now, maybe. Yeah.
They have three players.
Okay, yeah, but it was one damn map for the longest time, right? But it's because the gameplay was good. It seems like it's weighted such that it gets progressively more and more difficult for the runners, where the runners will eventually, just because as they do things, the AI gets more and more power, but they're losing people because their people are getting killed off. It just seems, unless you have it's drastically balanced in the runner's favor and it switches over time, it seems like that asymmetry.
Well,
would be
most of the
challenging.
time, unless the runners are extremely
They're outright just murdering people.
yeah, then you can't. They're all stealth most of the time.
Okay.
Unless
I
they
don't
do
think we explained it
ridiculous
well
stuff,
enough, but
yeah.
then the whole being able to get the security getting new powers, being able to use tanks and things like that, that also causes a detriment because the citizenry will be against it.
Mm.
So it's kind of I don't know, population and whatever.
Yeah, so it's kind of
That's
the citizens kind of choose a side in a
the
sense.
citizens.
Yeah.
Because the more chaos that the runners cause, and if they kill innocent citizens, then why would the citizens want to side with them?
And then there's also the whole sort of just the power fantasy thing of it. If you are the security forces and you never get your tanks, oh man, all I get is security cameras, really, and patrol beat cops, So just think through that some. You said that thousands of artificial intelligence characters would be running on the server, and I'm
Simple
like,
ones.
what the hell server are you talking about?
I don't know, we just added that like, I don't know.
Okay,
a couple minutes
okay,
ago, so I
that's
know.
just frightening, right? Because now you're paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to run all these servers to run all these games, rather than it being a peer-to-peer game where it's run. So just things like that will sell red flags for people, and it's just like a simple statement. It's like there were a lot of games in previous semesters where they're like, yeah, you have a completely customizable character, and we're like, whoa, that's $500,000 of art right there in that one statement, you know. So the slide on asymmetry was way too long, and that's it. I'm done.
I really wanted to hear a proper log line.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Oh,
have
yeah,
one. We
yeah.
have one.
You do have one,
It's,
but you didn't do it.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about putting it in last night, and I guess we just didn't put it in. It's real-time strategy, cops and robbers.
With heist movie.
Yeah, it's a real-time
Okay, I
strategy.
didn't say the cops and
Yeah,
robbers
you
part.
kind of had that with the Ocean's 11
Yeah.
slide. I didn't get how, like,
The delivery.
I mean, the thing is, the idea's come far away since the Ocean's 11 thing, but we were just trying to tie it into some narrative element that people could relate to, so
Yep.
that it would help better explain what
it's also, it's less Ocean's 11-y and more action heist,
Yeah.
right? Because like
well-
Ocean's 11 is about like, you know, letting yourself get beat up while other shit's going on, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Also, there's a game for Ocean's 11 called Monaco, so.
yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to hear a log line on a similar track. I really wanted to know what would be on screen, mock-ups.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Yep.
What's the ask? You did. What? Did you send me a expense sheet at all?
No, we don't.
No.
Okay, you didn't. Do you know what you're going to be asking for?
1 million? 1 year?
How much?
1 million?
How many people?
Yeah, we don't. 1 million.
Don't know yet.
Okay.
0.8?
Okay.
10? No? No. That's not
We really don't know. I mean, there's no point in
Wait.
throwing
Yeah, we're
numbers
just
out there.
making up numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We don't quite know yet.
Something that you definitely need to think about. This strikes me as a more than